This is the summary of Chapter 4. We're going to get straight into it. So the school passes slowly for Scout, as we know she doesn't really enjoy school, right, with the drama that's going on with her teacher and Burris Yule. Her grade is released a half hour earlier than Jem, so Scout is constantly passing Boo Radley's house by herself every afternoon. She then begins to find items at the end of the Radley yard, and Scout finds some gum. They also later find 2 shiny pennies, so we'll read about that. Dill comes back for summer because now it's summer break, and Jem suggests the game, a new game, and they call it Boo Radley, and we'll talk about exactly what kind of game that is. Atticus finds them with a newspaper and scissors and hopes that they aren't playing a game about Boo Radley. Scout is hesitant to play, and I'm not going to read the rest of this summary because I do want us to experience it. So we're going to jump right into why she doesn't want to play this game. So once again, please follow along. Only read the pink parts on your own. There's not a lot of pink in this chapter. So we're going to take and move forward in this, okay? As the year passed, released from the school 30 minutes before Jem, who had to stay until 3 o'clock, I ran by the Radley place as fast as I could, not stopping until I reached the safety of our front porch. One afternoon, as I raced by, something caught my eye, and caught it in such a way that I took a deep breath, a long look around, and went back. Some tinfoil was sticking in a knot hole just above my eye level, winking at me in the afternoon sun. I stood on tiptoe, hastily looked around once more, reached into the hole, and withdrew 2 pieces of chewing gum minus their outer wrappers. My first impulse was to get it into my mouth as quickly as possible, but I remembered where I was. I ran home, and on our front porch I examined my loot. The gum looked fresh. I sniffed it, and it smelled all right. I licked it and waited for a while. When I did not die, I crammed it into my mouth, Wrigley's Double Mint. Would you eat anything in front of the Radley home? Take some time to think and question yourself if you would or wouldn't. You're going to continue reading about the conversation between Jem and Scout. You can imagine how upset Jem is. As we came to the live oaks at the Radley place, I raised my finger to point for the 100th time to the knothole where I had found the chewing gum, trying to make Jem believe I had found it there, and found myself pointing at another piece of tinfoil. I see it, Scout, I see it. Jem looked around, reached up, and gingerly pocketed a tiny, shiny package. We ran home, and on the front porch we looked at a small box patchworked with bits of tinfoil collected from chewing gum wrappers. It was a kind of box wedding rings came in, purple velvet with a minute catch. Jem flicked open the tiny catch. Inside were 2 scrubbed and polished pennies, one on top of the other. Jem examined them. And you're going to read a little bit of their dialogue. So they found some gum and 2 pennies. So we're going to move forward. You're going to be skipping quite a bit. This is the part where she rolls in the tire. I'm going to have you read this on your own. In the movie, they depict this pretty good. So you're going to read this on your own. Skip through. I know what we're going to play, he announced. This is Jem speaking. Something new, something different. What? Asked Dill. Boo Radley. Jem's head at times was transparent. He had thought that up to make me understand he wasn't afraid of Radley's in any shape or form, to contrast his own fearless heroism with my cowardice. Boo Radley, how? Asked Dill. Jem said, Scout, you can be Mrs. Radley. Jem parceled out our roles. I was Mrs. Radley, and all I had to do was come out and sweep the porch. Dill was old Mr. Radley. He walked up and down the sidewalk and coughed when Jem spoke to him. Jem naturally was Boo. He went under the front steps and shrieked and howled from time to time. As the summer progressed, so did our game. We polished and perfected it, added dialogue and plot until we had manufactured a small play upon which we rang changes every day. And you can read this on your own. It talks a little bit of how real this play became to them. And then this is where a little bit more of what they would do during the actual reenactment of Boo Radley. When it was time to play Boo's big scene, Jem would sneak into the house, steal the scissors from the sewing machine drawer when Calpurnia's back was turned, and then sit in the swing and cut up newspapers. Dill would walk by, cough at Jem, and Jem would fake a plunge into Dill's thigh. You guys can laugh at that. That's pretty funny. From where I stood, it looked real. When Mr. Nathan Radley passed us on his daily trip to town, we would stand still and silent until he was out of sight, then wonder what he would do to us if he suspected. Our activities halted when any of the neighbors appeared, and once I saw Miss Maudie Atkinson staring across the street at us, her hedge clippers poised in midair. You can read this on your own. This is when Atticus catches them playing. And at the very end, this is the part that I really want to emphasize, Atticus's arrival was the second reason I wanted to quit the game. The first reason happened the day I rolled into the Radley front yard. Through all the head shaking, quelling of nausea, and Jem yelling, I heard another sound, so low I could not have heard it from the sidewalk. Someone inside the house was laughing. So obviously when she was in the tire, she rolls all the way up in front of the Radley home. So you can imagine how creepy that could be as a child. So please read the pink and answer the questions, okay? Thank you.